Saram, we are ready to begin our next program. So I would request Dr. Harvey to introduce our next speaker. Saram.
Saram once more, and we congratulate you on getting back and keeping these breaks to their proper limits. The idea of a break is to give us an opportunity it's to have moderation on the other side, but if we prolong the breaks, then it defeats the purpose. So congratulations. We have come now to the first guest speaker. And why do we have guest speakers at a conference? And why do we strive all across the country to try to get people who've had a lot of experience in spiritual activities? Is it necessary for us to hear a great speaker in order to get a full appreciation of God's teachings? Well, no. As we pointed out earlier, each of us has a direct communication line to the Lord. And he has said many times that he does not need to go through intermediaries. And so we should always keep that in mind, that we're all his children. Each of us is a full spark of the divine. And as we become more aware of that spark expands and expands, and ultimately we become aware of our reality, our oneness with everything in the universe. However, it is a process, and as one of the previous speakers pointed out, this process often involves many lifetimes. And in this process, there are signposts, there are aids, there are things that can help us move further along and to help us not have to go through and get into all of the pitfalls and traps. If we're in a strange community, a foreign part of the world, and we're trying to find our way, and we see someone who has already been or is much further along on the same path that we're trying to move forward on, it of course makes a lot of sense to listen carefully. And Swami has pointed out to us that we've got persons with a lot of experience. He gives us each, we all have a talent, and he gives each of us a certain responsibility. Our first speaker today has had an awesome responsibility. He has had an awesome responsibility that he has shouldered so well, that just the way that he has met that responsibility is in itself inspirational. It's a lesson in itself. He's a rare kind of individual in the sense that even as a young teenager, he had a strong desire to know God, to find God. And he just very quickly became disenchanted with the things that normally tend to excite young people and not so young people. And he set out on a search for God very, very early, at age 16 or thereabout. He has been, it's been said that he is the Westerner who has had the most contact and the most frequent number of conversations with Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Not just a conversation in the sense of being able to exchange thoughts and to express his appreciation and get guidance, but to go deeply into questions. As you'll see, if you don't already know, that he is not content with just a surface answer. He wants to go beneath that. He's much like Arjuna, who, in his friendship form of devotion with the Lord, is able to press for more and more clarifications. And what Dr. Hislop tries to do is to take advantage of this rare opportunity that Swami gives him to get answers to questions for all of us back here and all across the world. In just a couple of months, he will reach a period in his life, a milestone, his 90th year. Nevertheless, he displays the vigor, the intensity, the determination of that same 16-year-old kid who set out to try to find out about God. As you see in your program, he was given by Baba the responsibility of starting the Psi organization in North America, including the United States, Canada, and South America. He continues now to travel around the globe, even at a moment's notice. And when he goes to a place like Australia, for example, he's there for 10 days, maybe 2 weeks. And of course, they want to take full advantage of his presence. And so he's making 15, 16, 17, 18 different talks in a very short span of time. He just has tremendous energy, but of course the reason he has all of this energy is because it comes directly from the Lord. And he's able to get it to come directly from the Lord because of his intensity and the fact that he practices what it is that we're always talking about. I could go on and on and on and on and on, and we love to talk about Dr. Hislop because he's such a gift to us from Baba. But I would be remiss because I would be taking up his precious time. So let's all welcome Dr. John Hislop.
Probably the only thing that I can say for certain today is that I have no possibility of living up to Bill's introduction. None whatsoever. I'm really very glad to be here with you today because this is sort of a favorite stamping ground of mine. I think it's 7 years since I was here last. But prior to then, I think every 2 years I came for quite a long time. But then the organization started to grow. There were more and more regions, and each region then started to have its own conference. So I had to move around here and there, and so I couldn't come here for quite a long while. But I'm very, very glad to be here again. Our topic, of course, is Swami and his teachings. The Shankaracharya of Kanchi spoke very well of Swami. You know, Shankaracharya, when he was alive, established, I think it was 5 critical temples at specific points in India where they could yield the greatest influence. And so this is the Shankaracharya, or the Shankara teacher of Kanchi. And he said that when there appears a man of great dignity and truth, full of compassion, full of love, full of sympathy, then people believe him the moment they set eyes on him. And they accept his teachings because they are sure that teaching set forth by such a man could not be other than true. So that is what he said about him. And of course we know that's true of Swami, and far, far, far more than that. Swami is every place at all times. He's the Lord of the universe, the Lord of love, and omnipresent at all times. That means that he is here in this room now, without any doubt. Just one story to illustrate that, because it's so much to the point. The McDowells. The McDowells, Mr. McDowell, Mrs. McDowell, and Ron live on a small farm in Kentucky, some miles out of town. And it was their custom to, for a couple hours every afternoon, to go into the house and meditate. They also had a dog, of which they were very fond. And one day the dog disappeared. And a couple of days later a new dog came, so they adopted him. And when the time came for meditation, the dog was put into the garage by Mr. McDowell, and both doors in the garage was locked. Both doors locked. And so then they went in and had their meditation. And when they came out, there was the dog at the bottom of the steps, jumping up and full of joy. And Rodney and Mrs. McDowell went down to greet the dog, but Mr. McDowell himself, who was not the premier devotee of the family, as is often the case, started to walk down and sort of leaned against the balustrade of the balcony, looked at the dog, and said sort of under his breath, sotto voice, "It's got to be Swami." Well, the family paid no attention. Who pays attention to father nowadays? And it was, then I was in India some 3 years after that. And for the first time, the McDowells also came to India. And we were called in for interview at the same time, the McDowells and my wife Victoria and myself. Those of you who have been in interview know that Swami likes to say something to everybody, so they'll feel at ease, not feel strange. So he says, "Who are you? What's your name? Where are you from? What do you do?" You know, as though he didn't know all those things beforehand anyway. But to put the person at ease. So the McDowells were sitting in chairs, and right next to them were 3 Indian ladies sitting on the floor. And so after talking to them, he moved on to the 3 Indian ladies and bent down and said something to them in a voice that nobody could hear. It was a private statement. So Mrs. McDowell, observing this, as a lady, wondered maybe he was talking about us. And so when the interview was over, Mr. McDowell followed these 3 Indian ladies out of the room, and she said to them, "Excuse me for asking, but was Swami talking about us to you?" And the Indian lady said, "Oh, yes, yes, yes. He said, they think I'm a dog." And mind you, that was 3 years after the event. And what did it show? On that little old insignificant farm in Kentucky, where these 2 people and the dog were, Swami was there. Of all the places in the world, why in a small farm in Kentucky? He was there. So he's every place at all times. And you can certainly be sure that he is here. Now,